Hello, everyone. Welcome to LOA Uncorked. This is Holly.
And this is Gina.
And you want to head on over to the YouTube video for our special guest today.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, Gina, you have no idea what's happening. Not only is this our favorite person.
I love how you just assume I don't know anything. Oh, but keep going.
But you won't know this.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know who's on our show today.
Oh, yes, I do know that.
Who's in the LOA Uncorked house. Okay, but you don't know what we're going to get to do today.
Okay. I don't know. Okay. Well, I don't
He's
think
like, what are we going to do? Before I announce who he is, okay, he's going to let us play with 4-letter words.
Oh, I do love me a 4-letter word.
And you know what? I love being
a
naughty.
Good 4-letter
okay,
word.
because a 4-letter word means we can be naughty, Gina.
I know.
And he's going to give us permission. Give us permission. To be naughty today.
Naughty. He looks a little naughty today.
He does.
I mean, go to YouTube.
I love the hat.
Yourself,
I mean,
listeners.
Honestly, okay, we have, and I'm slapping his book on my knee right now. We have Joseph Bennett in the house with his new best-selling book, Rest, The Art of Doing Less.
Yay, and the crowd roars.
Okay, and let me just say, me and Gina were ogling over ogling? Yes, ogling is perfect. We should get that word in more of our...
Ogling's good.
Ogling. Because O is the O. Okay, so
I see what you did there. I see what you did.
Ogling.
Very good.
And resto. Okay, so if you look at the art... No, we were ogling over the art. Truth be told, that is a true story.
Beautiful book, yeah.
You have to come look at it. Go on Amazon. Go get it. Actually, don't even look at it. Get it. Okay, because it's an amazing book. It's The Art of Doing Less. It has this beautiful picture on it, and the artwork is an O, and rest is in it. So it could be a face, it could be anything. And then he has a manifesto. And because I'm channeling my inner Oprah today, just allow me.
Oh, Lord. We're at reading time. Okay. Crisscross applesauce, everybody.
He's an
Close your eyes.
author. Before I do this, he's an author. Yay! He is a co-host of a podcast, Are You Waiting for Permission, with the wonderful, beautiful Meredith
We
Grundy.
had them on our podcast.
She's so wonderful.
Yes.
She's fabulous. And you know what? We were on their podcast. They were on our podcast. It's all going to be in the show notes. And without further ado, Gina,
please,
I know
please.
I can't stop talking, but I will.
Channel your inner kindergarten.
You see all my questions? You see all my questions? It's frightening. All right. Just like Oprah, the very first thing is the rest manifest. Okay. So listen to your body. Let's heal our addiction to busyness. Make peace with saying no. Allow other people to help you and your family. Make peace with time. Time is not your enemy. I am enough. I do enough. There is enough. Delight yourself with how rested you are. Give yourself permission to stop, slow down, take a break, breathe deeply and slowly. Re-examine your priorities and make sure you're one of them. Now, I love this so much because we think this is just about rest, and we're going to ask him, but listen, I find it to be a robust manifesto about our self-worth. And so we're gonna find out what he thinks about it. But it's
really all what you
slapping
think,
it
Holly.
on my
Yes, I know.
knee because I like it so much.
Yeah, it is a phenomenal read.
So
and
welcome to the podcast, Joseph Bennett.
See, Joseph, I told you. Eventually, she'll let you talk.
Eventually.
You know what? I'm sitting here thinking I don't have to do a thing, which is giving myself a lot.
Actually,
I'm just resting. See that dog behind me? I'm going to go curl up with her.
Look at all the art you're creating right now with that rest. Yes.
So what I want to say is, A, thank you for having me on as a guest, and B, thank you for your enthusiasm about this book. Because, there was a time when I kind of quit, and I was like, it's not enough. I don't really like it. I don't like how it's formatted. I'm not going to bring it forth. I'm just going to stop. Wow. And then I got really lucky. Actually, a gift from Meredith Grundy was a book by Andrew Simone, and it was really short, really to the point, sweet. It was more like an invitation, and it was about creating your life as an artist. And I thought, if he can do it, I can do it. And then I put the book out there, and it has done pretty well. People are resonating with it because we're freaking killing ourselves with busyness until now.
Until now.
Until now.
All right, take
okay,
it off,
how
Gina.
long has so what we'd love to hear, Joseph, is a little bit about you and your background and what brings you to today. Just for the listener who doesn't know anything about the beautiful Joseph Bennett, a little bit about yourself, and then if you could talk a little bit about how long this book has been brewing inside of you. What sort of was the genesis for the want to write something like this, and kind of how long it took you, and a little bit about that journey would be fantastic.
Okay, thank you. You may need to repeat some of those questions because that's
Sure.
Yeah. About me, today is my birthday, so that's like important to know.
We already sang happy birthday.
I know we spared you all from that part.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
My favorite food is pizza. I love long walks on the beach. I live in central Mexico in a beautiful artist colony called San Miguel de Allende, in the heart of the country, so right in the center. It's been named the #1 city about 6 or 7 times since 2013. So please come and visit and enjoy. I've been happily married for 22 years to my beloved Eli Hans, and he's also an actor and a screenwriter and a playwright. And today, why we're here is because I'm releasing my new book called Word After Word. So this just launched today and already became #1. So that was pretty exciting. But the genesis of the work is I never wanted to write a book. That wasn't something that I felt I needed to do or wanted to do. Enough trees have been killed, yada, yada. But I had an idea, and I said, Eli, what do you think I could write a book about? And he said, well, you have done this project called 365 Days. A is for action. So for 365 days, I posted on Facebook in a group, this is some inspired action you could take to live a better life, to be healthier, to be kinder, to be more engaged in the world, whatever it was. I said, just use that. You already have the content. And I said, oh, I could do that. I went to sleep, and I woke up in the morning, and I heard my coach, Barbara Leggett's words saying, if I hear one more person talking about pushing through, and I get chills just talking about it right now. And I said, Eli, I can't write a book about action. We're kind of moving past that, and I'm needing to do a 180-degree turn and look at what the opposite of action is. And for me, that's resting and being gentle with ourselves and self-care and self-love. And as a recovering workaholic, that's what felt more needed, I guess. That sounds egotistical, that I know what's needed in the world, but that's what was needed for my self-expression. So I
think that was a gift of spirit, really, because you're right. I mean, one of the things that you said that really resonated with me is just that we stop wearing our exhaustion as a status symbol. And isn't that true? It's like, I'm so busy. That means I'm important. It means I'm,
contributing.
I even noticed.
What did you say, Gina? I didn't hear that word.
Contributing in like a really meaningful, profound, doing more than my part kind of thing, right?
So what is rest? So you touched on it a little bit in your description. So in my mind, I always thought if I'm sitting on my bed and reading, that's rest. Or if I'm sitting on my bed doing gratitude, that's rest. Is that rest?
I have no idea. I mean, for you, I have no idea what rest is for you. I think the prescription is different for each of us. For me, it's burying myself in my dog's ears and just like mumbling sweet nothings to them. That looks like rest. For me, taking a hot bath with the candlelight, like that's golden for me. It's different for each of us. And I think what it requires is some quiet and some downtime for us to really connect with what do I want? What do I need? What is my soul aching for? So that I feel rested and nourished. And what I talk about in the book is try to find a place that's outside of the bedroom, because we think like sleep is rest. Right? And it might be for some people, but is there something else that can feed us as well? Sometimes giggling with your best girlfriend is rest,
For sure.
So we're really looking for something nurturing and nutritious.
It's nourishment.
Nourishment.
Okay. All right. Well, I love that
Gina, you say it like it's a dirty word.
I mean, no, it is.
Nourishment.
I need some nourishment. She's in a desert looking for water. She's looking for nourishment.
No, but I think, we don't think about nourishing ourselves often enough. I think, to your point, like, nourishment is not just food and water. It is all the things that feed your soul, right? Not just what feeds your body. And I think, I just had never really thought about rest as nourishment before. That's fascinating.
Yes, and can I just say a little caveat to that? Because sometimes listeners might say, oh, well, what feels nurturing to me now is like 3 bags of potato chips and a quart of ice cream. That's what my comfort is. And maybe that will work in the short term, but what I'm asking and inviting in is what will work that's more sustainable than that.
Right.
There's that pillow and that saying that says, do what you love. And I wrote a blog about it. I'm like, what if what I love is just, not brushing my teeth for 6 days, or binge watching, CSI, if that's still a thing. Do what you love as long as it feeds you in meaningful ways.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Let's talk about the rinse and repeat of, work, sleep, care for others, right, Gina?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And we're in a cycle of work, sleep, not enough. Let me add that caveat, and care for others. And you're on that train. And it's interesting. I'm going to ask for some advice for those people. It's interesting. Many years ago, when my kids were little, I would get up at 4 a.m, and I hate getting up. We all know that noon is perfect for me, to get rolling, And so 4 a.m. is obscene. Yeah. My body says, fuck you. Yeah. Okay. And it gets mad. It got so mad that my thyroid blew out. Okay. So I was going into the office to get done. Then I had this huge commute. Then I was getting home, taking care of the kids, going shopping, and I would just rinse, repeat. And, I had a friend say to me, well, why do you need to be there so early? And why do you have to do this? And I said, I have to. Who's going to do it? She doesn't understand. I'm important. Okay. I'm a manager. Yeah. I'm a leader. Okay. I got to be there to show the people, lead the way. Right. And I thought she was just crazy at the time. And at the point was she wasn't crazy. It was we can talk about this, but that's why I think this is so robust. It was my view of myself, and that it fed me, it fed my self-importance, and I felt like I was stuck. And immediately when I realized, okay, this is your ego talking, you don't need to be doing this, then the soul looked for solutions, and I did find a solution, although I don't think I was cured of my busyness then, but I did get a solution. Sometimes life is large and there's a lot of things on your plates during different times of your life. Yeah. But what is the advice for this rinse repeat culture of, I don't have time because I'm on this merry-go-round.
Yep.
Oh, that's so beautiful that you shared that. Thank you. And my heart is heavy knowing that you, us, we, a lot of us are living in that cycle. It just makes my heart heavy. And advice, I guess I would say, team is an acronym for Together Everyone Achieves Miracles. And I think when we can invite others into our team, whether that's just carpooling with somebody at 4 a.m. so we have somebody to bounce ideas off of, or ordering a little bit less on Amazon so that we can put some money towards childcare for somebody to take care of our children so that we don't have to, or we can invite in, other members of the community to share that with. And secondly, I'm a huge fan of change your thinking, change your life. So when we tell ourselves the stories, and I believe they're just stories, I don't have enough time, I'm so important, nobody else can do this but me, look how busy I am, that is, it becomes our reality, it becomes our world. So this is for listeners, for those of you who this is new to, it's not a new idea from me, okay? It's from the sages. Change your thinking, change your life. And look at the stories that you're telling yourself and others, and you get to change that immediately. We started this podcast with Holly talking about until now. I'm such a busy person until now. I never have a chance to rest until now. Those two words can open up entirely different realities. And it also sends a sign to the universe that you are willing and open to changing immediately. It's not like, oh, when my kids are grown, because that's a familiar story, right? Oh my God, when I send the kids to college, I'm going
to be able to live. Nope. When I retire, I'm going to be able to live.
So
right?
True. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So those are the two things that come top of mind. And the third one would be to just read the book.
Yeah.
Yes, read the book. And you talk about, I love the until now because you talk about the book is we all do say negative things sometimes. Like I will write that, book, or no, that's a positive statement, any negative statement. So I can't write that book until now. That would be how you'd use it.
Right.
And so there's a wealth of knowledge in the book, but do you think I'm segueing back to our conversation about the rinse repeat. Do you think that people choose to be in a rinse repeat because we choose in the rinse repeat pattern because they don't want to look at areas of their life? And if you stop and are quiet for a while and rest, things bubble up that the monster comes out of the closet. Okay. I hate it when monsters come out of the closet, Gina. I mean,
Gina, don't you think that Holly could say that exact same thing, but instead of it being a question, it could just be a statement?
A statement, 100%. Right? Yes, yes.
She has all the answers. You two
no,
are
I
just,
don't.
You just,
no, I don't.
All
no, I
don't. Out. Yes,
no, but
I just wonder, like, for those people that are doing that, the rest is scary. Right. Rest is scary. And so,
especially if you are in a system or a structure that rewards the busy. And I think a lot of, at least in the work environment, in a corporate structure and in any business, I feel like if you look at who's getting the accolades, who's getting the rewards, it's those that go above and beyond, stayed after 7 to get this done for the client, does all these things that really impact someone's ability to make more space for themselves and still be successful, right? So I think maybe it's also thinking about where you're aligned in life and what structures you're a part of and whether or not they promote, reward, and will really challenge you to find the appropriate balance for yourself and still be successful.
So beautifully said. Thank you.
Yeah. I do think
and
that's
I want to add, if we're for our listeners who are in the lather, rinse, repeat cycle of just doing, if that's the only thing that's possible for you in this moment, and maybe it is, let's play with taking the suffering out of it and replace that with joy. Because, I mean, if you're going to go through, repeat and work and, commuting and all of that, try to be joyful in it.
Yeah,
I get to have a long commute today. I get to wake up and feed my kids breakfast. I get to go to work and earn a paycheck. So let's just try to be joyful in that versus having this culture of suffering and pain and lack and, I'm so overwhelmed. It's just, it's exhausting and it doesn't serve anyone. In my opinion.
I love that. I know, when I was, we were executives together, I've since left, and people would call me and they'd say, I know you're busy. That would be the first line. You get it too, Gina, all the time. And I was like, please don't say that. And I switched it to like, I don't, it's about results for me. So, I mean, honestly, that's the other side of the addiction coin, right?
Yep.
But explain to us what is, because we love talking about magic, Gina. Magic is all in everything. Okay. And it's bling and it's everything. Okay. So can you talk about the magic of stepping away
So I worked in a corporation that happened to be a hospital, but it was still run like a corporation. And I had this very important, I'm doing air quotes, listeners, very important job where I was a psychiatric social worker. And I would go to the emergency department to assess patients because we didn't have a psychiatrist who was there 24/7. Thankfully, maybe they were going home to rest. So I would go and do the assessments. And sometimes it was so challenging. I had no idea what was best for this patient or how I was going to battle the insurance companies or where was I going to find a detox bed or how I was going to coerce somebody into signing voluntarily because sometimes that's how it looked or how it felt. And I would need to step away. And what I would do is I would go down to the cafeteria, get myself a cup of coffee, and in those 7 to 10 to 15 minutes, something would get resolved. There would be a spaciousness where something showed up. Either the patient would decide they wanted to stay, or a detox bed would open up, and the psychiatrist would call back, the insurance company would have approved the admission. And I didn't get that for years. A long time, I would just stay and battle and fight and make another phone call and make another bit of documentation. And, somebody's got to understand this and help me. And then I gave myself some grace. Love that. It's not a 4-letter word, which you never got to the 4-letter words, by the way.
We're going to get to the 4-letter words because we want to be naughty.
Yeah, we save it to the very end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Save the naughty for the end.
So I would step away and there would be a graciousness that happened. Something would get resolved.
I love the grace. And so I'm going to say a hallelujah, amen to that because it is a practice that I would invite everyone to just try because it is magical. And I'm going to say I used to go out, so I never believed in that. And then I started doing it.
Yep.
Okay. So similar to like you, I'd grit it out and whether
force
it's,
it and
whether it's
Yep.
a problem I needed to solve or if I thought I made a mistake. Okay. Like, holy shit. Okay. And I'm looking, and usually it's numbers, okay, because I was the finance person, right? So so I'd be like, holy shit, did I make a mistake? And I'm the top finance person, right? Like that's a big deal.
All the mistakes roll to you. Yeah,
right. Everything comes to me, and it's an anomaly for that to happen, and thank God, okay. And so I remember I started stepping away. I would step away. We had a little patch of woods I'd walk out to the trees. I'd touch the trees. I would not think about my problem. That was my rule. Don't think about the problem. Just go. And I'd come back and it would magically happen.
Solve itself.
Yeah. And so anytime I got frustrated or I was in a wheel or I couldn't figure it out, I would just step away. And then I invite all my staff to step away. You having a problem? Let's just go have a break. Yep. We would go to our lunchroom or something like that. But I like to go out to the trees. Yep. And so I love that. It is magic. I don't think people know that, Joseph.
Yeah. Listener, are you listening? Are you hearing that? Really, step away. Yeah, we're in the force of it, right? Like, I've got to figure this out. My self-esteem is riding on this, my reputation, my job, my income, whatever it is.
Right.
You have permission to step away, even if it's just for 3 or 4 minutes. That can be
huge.
So helpful, right?
Yeah.
Recess. We grew up having recess, and then we got rid of it.
Yeah, I think when you're so close to something, and like you said, there's so much vested in, the outcome of something, it's really hard to gain perspective. And the only way to get perspective is to be back far enough to see the whole thing and then re-enter with some better perspective and put things, for the most part, if you had made a mistake, it's not like we're, curing cancer or something in most cases, right? Like let's just take a breath and put everything in perspective. And I think being able to step away absolutely helps with that too.
Go ahead.
In that breath, Gina, I'm also going to invite the listener to put their hands on their heart.
Oh, I love that.
Because I think that the ingredient of kindness, self-kindness, is a game changer. Right?
Yeah,
we're really good at beating ourselves up. I got the numbers wrong.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. What if we could invite in some kindness in that moment and be like, yep, I'm going to need to fix this at some point. But in this moment, I'm just going to breathe. I'm going to touch a tree, and I'm going to put my hand on my heart.
Yeah, no, I love that.
And
So very
secondly,
true.
all of those things are free. You don't need an app. You don't need to download it. You don't need electricity. I live in Mexico. We have problems with electricity sometimes. You don't even need electricity in order to practice kindness and stepping away. So that's the invitation.
I love that. So Gina and I are really passionate about mindfulness in the schools, and you reminded us in your book that we used to put our heads down and take a reset. We used to put our heads down and put our eyes down for a few minutes and reset during the day.
Absolutely.
And I was like, holy moly!
Some of us were invited to do that more than others.
Yes, probably. Yeah. Yes, Gina.
Gina, just
put
your head down.
Put your head down.
Jesus.
But I think that was the rudimentary,
yes.
mindfulness, and now it's all gone away. We don't take rest. Although my daughter's school did, at 3, they would have a mindfulness minute in the middle of the hallway. So I feel like it's coming back. So let's talk about 4-letter words. We said reset. That's not 4 letters. Okay.
No.
There's the
if it's Wordle level, it's 5 letters. It's not a 4-letter.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Reset's a Wordle.
We want to be naughty. Tell us about 4-letter words, because I promised Gina we'd talk about that.
I can't wait.
So I do not have a copy of the book, so I'm going to go from memory. But I wrote a chapter, and it's called 4-letter words, and it says, I guess I should tell you sooner than later that this book includes a lot of 4-letter words like heal, self, time, grow, love, kind. Help me out here. You have a copy.
Yeah,
Rest.
I have it. Uh-huh.
Rest was one of them.
Rest, yes, of course.
So
Okay,
it's
I'm
just
not getting to that. Okay, but yes, all those 4-letter words, exactly.
So it's just an invitation for the reader to kind of get them primed, if you will, that these are the kind of things that we're going to be talking about. And that brings me to how often are we having conversations with our tribe, our friends, our family, our coworkers about heal, self, love, time, rest. What are our conversations about? The price of gas?
Right.
Or what the politician said on the news last night, or what's happening with immigration. We're really good at those kind of conversations. And if they're important to you, then by all means, share them. But again, are they adding to the conversation? Are they supporting?
Right.
You look like you want to say something, Holly.
Well, I mean, of course, it's in the first chapter, and I'm looking in the middle. Nap. I like that one. Naps.
Yes.
Naps.
Say nap is 3.
Yeah.
Unless there's 2 P's.
I can't
Maybe
count.
you
No
spell it
wonder
with
I had
2 Ps
problems
in Mexico. I don't know.
I had problems.
She's a numbers person. Did she tell you that? She's a numbers person.
But with the calculator, and she
so
doesn't have one.
It's
She's not
such a
toting her
joke.
calculator
I'm not
today.
I'm not a toting person. Okay, let's talk about. One of my favorite things that I really resonated with was making friends with time, and that root of time being. I don't have enough time to get here. I don't have enough time. Like a lack.
Enemy, right?
Like it's a lack. It's lack-minded. So tell us a little bit about. How do we make friends with time?
Strategy. Yep.
I want a strategy. I want a doing strategy.
Okay, I want you to spend 5 minutes. No, that's a joke. So again, it comes back to the stories that we tell ourselves, right? If you look at the languaging around time, there's not enough time, killing time, how do you spend your time? I don't want to waste my time. So what is the languaging that we're using around that? And my dear mother, Trish, God rest her soul, she would look at her watch umpteen amount of times during the day when she was retired and had nowhere to go. It never left her left wrist unless she was going to bed. And, that kind of became ingrained in me that my life was guided or driven by time. And it never felt good. So a strategy that I would recommend to your listeners is to give themselves grace. There's that word again. And notice what's happening when you're in your body when you are feeling pressured or what's feeling that there's not enough of it. And you started talking about the embodiment of your body, right? That's what your book is about. So how does it feel? What sensation is happening in your body? And then give yourself some mindfulness about the story that you're telling yourself. And breathe. Maybe walk away, maybe go out into nature, maybe put your hand on your heart. And instead of telling ourselves that we are coming from a place of lack, allow yourself to come from a place of plenty. I have plenty of time. I have plenty of things that I get to put on the back burner. I have plenty of support in my life. So when we look at time, most of us are looking at the lack of, and I encourage us to change the story into I have plenty of. And it will feel weird. It'll feel really weird because your listener is saying, yeah, but you don't understand. I have a meeting in 10 minutes, right? Like you don't understand that.
Yeah.
And just notice what you notice, as Meredith Grundy reminds us so often. Notice what you notice about how it's directing your life, and does it feel good to you? So there's some law of attraction teaching that says, notice what you're feeling. If it feels good, keep doing more of that.
Right.
Yeah.
And the converse of that, if it doesn't feel good, find a way to change it that is meaningful to you. And what worked for me that I write about in the book is I had my art studio in the garage, and multiple times a night, probably to go get more alcohol, unfortunately, I would leave the art studio and walk into my kitchen and through the back door and immediately look at the clock on the stove. I didn't need to know what time it was. There was nobody. I mean, I had cats at the time. They would tell me if they were hungry. That was the only thing I had to do. And I was always looking at the watch. Hello, Mom. I'm thinking of you right now. Yeah. Always looking at the stove clock. So eventually I put a piece of paper on it, and the piece of paper just said now, N-O-W. And for years, that really worked for me and really served that, I didn't need to know what time it was.
Did it impact you when you knew what time it was? Like, when you did look at it with no reason to, how did that feel? What did that inform? How did that change?
Of course it did. Yeah. Oh, it's 10:17. Okay, I have 2 more hours left to be able to create. I better get back at this pressure. Yeah, that was completely self-inflicted.
Right.
And so once I put now, then I just got to check in with my body. Am I hungry? Am I sleepy? Do I need to pee? Do I need to rest? Do I need to go look at the moon and look at the stars? I was in my backyard worried about time. Que ridiculo, no? How ridiculous.
So true. Gosh, that's so... And you're right. I mean, even we're programmed to follow a schedule, even eating and, what time we wake up and all those sorts of things. And so, without that, it forces the check-in within your body. It forces you to listen differently than perhaps you would if you've got a routine schedule and a time, a general window of time that you typically do certain things that drives doing it versus, being more dynamic and in your body and listening to it in a more pronounced way. Mindfulness. It's mindfulness at its core, right?
What Interesting. A gift. What a gift that is.
I thought about that.
Well, I feel like we're the I don't know how to say this, but it's almost like it's a mind hack, because it's not like we've just spent this whole time talking about how to be a slacker. Okay.
No. Yeah.
And in fact, what rest and what your invitation is, if I can say, and you can agree or not, is that it actually helps you be more productive when you're engaged in doing what you need to be doing, if you've taken time out for yourself. Is that, I think, is the invitation. So we're not saying just go sit on your hands, which I think you do suggest at one point in time. I was like, oh my God, they have to be under my butt? Are you kidding me? So, I mean, what's your thoughts on that, Joseph?
Yes, and can we also invite in some joy into that conversation?
Yeah, I love that.
Well, right? So if we're putting pressure on ourselves because of time or for other reasons, can we at least be joyful in our approach to things? Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't noticed, life can be really short. Especially with COVID, there are so many people last year and the year previous to that died, and they're not here anymore. They're laughing at us that we're looking that we have 10 more minutes to do something, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that all the people that have passed by, if they came back and could give us messages, it would be more joyful. And give
love
yourself
that.
more grace and enjoy being here. I read somewhere, because I looked it up, I was really interested in the entire population that has ever been on the planet. How many of us are still here? And the estimation is that of all the millions and billions of people that have been here, we're only part of the 7%.
Oh, really?
93% of all human beings have already passed. That's pretty damn dynamic when you think about it.
Yeah, no, that is.
If we're only part of the 7%, how do we want to spend our time? I have chills again thinking about this. How do we want to spend our time? There's that word again. Do we want to spend it rushing and denying and hurting ourselves either with our thoughts or with our energy or with our words? Or do we want to spend our days being in more joy, being more connected, slowing down, resting, nourishing ourselves? That's the invitation. And it's scary. It's scary as hell because, like you said, there might be monsters in the closet, Holly, that we don't want to see. But I promise you, and this is my promise to our listeners, that the monsters in the closet are less scary when we face them than when we try to ignore them or drink them away or binge them away.
Amen.
That's the
to
promise.
That is a great promise. And we're going to say, well, we are aligned on that. I'll tell you, we have our 10 badassery principles. And the last one is, it's all about joy. Go to your true north, your joy. And, that's what it is all about. And
joy is a choice.
Joy is a choice.
Yeah. And a muscle.
Yeah. Choice.
And a muscle. Yeah. That needs to be worked out.
You're absolutely right. It's a practice. It's a pattern of coming at the world that you have to practice. So.
So can I tell a story?
Yes,
please.
So about joy being a practice. So I was recently in Southern California. I was on vacation, connecting with different people, family members, friends, and the conversations inevitably turned to, oh my God, isn't blank so expensive? Look at the housing, look at the price of gas, look at the price of blank.
Vacations.
Whatever it was. Vacations are expensive. That restaurant is so expensive. And I'm the jerk in the room who will raise my hand and say, can we please change the topic of conversation? Because this is not part of the solution, ladies and gentlemen, mother-in-law, sister. It's not part of the solution to complain about the cost of things unless you're going to try and fix the economy or something like that. So I would always invite in, and my family's used to this, into talking about things that are joyful or what we're grateful for. Because those other conversations, they didn't serve me. Maybe they served the other people in the room, but I was willing to be the guy raising my hand and say, oh my God, this conversation sucks. Can we please change the conversation? And then
thank you for your, go ahead.
And then we'd go to the next party and they would start talking about how things were expensive.
Well, we're thankful for your Leo-ness and your leadership on that. Okay, because that is very happy birthday, Leo, man. Because that is very.
You're not going to shy away from any of that.
Shy away from that. Yeah. So I love that. So can you tell us a little bit about your new book?
Yes, please.
Can you hold it up again?
I'm dying to hear.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a big band across it that says "not for resale." So this is the galley copies. This is that's why that's not supposed to be there. It's called Word After Word: Poems by Joseph Bennett. I gave myself permission to write one poem a day for a year during COVID. I would just pick up the pen without any editing, like you were saying, just with the index cards that you have, right, Gina, right, Holly, and just write something, and then afterward. I called through, I curated some that I liked, and I put them into a book. And they're beautiful, and they're actually poems that would make a grown man cry, is how they've been described. So,
I can't wait to go get my copy.
I know. Have you written poetry your whole life, or when
much of my life?
Practice? Okay.
Much of my life, gay preteen angst, about putting words down on paper. And then I had a tiny little bit, like 3 or 4 poems published in the college newspaper where I went. And then I tried to be a writer when I moved to San Diego. That was going to be my thing. And I had my little brother word processor on the floor, and I would hunch over. I went to writing classes every week, and the empty page was really scary to me.
Yeah.
If you know what that feels like, Holly.
I do.
It was very scary. And then I moved into art and moved into 3-dimensional sculpture and things like that. And then got back to it in the last couple of years and just had a writer's retreat here in San Miguel that was really beautiful. So
I love that.
I do writing and art. And it's been great. It launched today, and people are liking it, and they're buying it, and they bought the digital copy, and they're already saying, oh, I love this one poem where I laughed at that thing. And it's a little bit heavy because it was written during the pandemic.
Sure.
There's a lot of loss and sickness and illness. And as a Leo, I did not appreciate being quarantined because I'm a social being. So that was not fun for me.
Really tough, I bet, yeah.
It was the safest thing for us to do, right? And I'm excited.
But hard and heavy, yeah.
Hard and heavy.
Well, I think it's going to be important for society to have things, things like your book and other remembrances of that time.
Absolutely.
The most important thing for us as humans is to not forget the stories of the past.
I love that, Gina. Thank you.
So, I think those kinds of reminders when
it's going to be a piece of history.
Yeah. And it's so easy when, when things start to get back to normal, you kind of forget all of the impact of that time. So I think it's great to have it memorialized for sure. So thank you.
I can't wait to read it. I'm just going to tell you, this is full disclosure confessional right now, okay, is that I cried when you wrote about kissing your blind dog, okay? And so in just this book, okay? And I was like, oh my God, I ran down, and I call them assholes. I have 2 of them, and sometimes I call them assholes, which I know is bad, but I have joy sometimes in calling them assholes, and Gina knows why. Okay. And then I went down and I snuggled them, and they have underbites because they're so cute. I mean, the underbite is just glorious. Okay.
Sure, yeah. I love the word glorious.
Yeah.
And so I gazed at lovingly at their underbites and petted them, and they rolled over, and it was just the most beautiful moment. So thank you for that.
I love that.
You're welcome.
I mean, they're not assholes, but
they are.
Not all the time.
But they're loving assholes.
But they're loving assholes. Yeah, you can't help but the face. Only a mother could love that asshole face. Yeah,
I love their faces.
I know, their faces.
I call
are
them
beautiful.
supermodels.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
So in addition to, here's my question for both of you. In addition to cuddling with the dogs after reading the book, is there anything else that you would say, what's your takeaway? Anything that resonated with you?
Yeah, well, there's so much. I mean, because we did have, and we didn't talk about this, but there's so much that we share. Like we share our disdain for, guilt. Guilt should be gone. We call guilt and shame clown shit. Okay, because it just needs to go away in a funny way. Like, let it go away. But I feel like for me, I was really caught up in that's why I asked you about the definition of rest, because I thought, well, am I resting? And now what I'm going to go do is think about when I'm doing those things, is it rest? Is it nourishing? Because that's the word that I loved, Gina.
I love
nourishing. And I'm going, what's good for me, because the other component of Gina and I that we really believe in strongly and we promote is knowing yourself. So when I know my human design, how I'm supposed to show up in the world, I'm a manifester. Yeah. So I'm supposed to rest to get my downloads. And I've never done that in my whole entire life. Yep. And I'm not supposed to be a doer.
And it's wickedly uncomfortable for you too.
Wickedly uncomfortable. And so, and I've been a doer, and I can get shit done like there's nobody's business. I mean, like, listen, I can do 50,000 times more than everybody else. And then I'm like, give me a badge, right? And now I'm like, okay, well, I don't want a badge for that. I actually want a badge for these new interesting downloads. I'm supposed to birth new things into the world by resting and then working and then and handing it off to others and then resting. So I'm taking your book to rethink how
Perfectly placed book for you to read.
Yes,
actually.
it really is, because I'm not working right now. I gave up my corporate gig, and it's been wickedly uncomfortable because I'm like, I call her and say, you know, Gina, I did stuff for LOA Uncorked today. I did this,
I know,
this,
it's like she's-
this.
yeah,
I'm trying.
I am doing things. I go, I know.
Like I'm
you're
trying
doing
to create
things.
value. I'm not doing that
Yes,
anymore.
Yeah, no, you're
and
not. You're
I'm
much
going
better.
to rest so that I can fulfill my life purpose.
Yeah.
So that's my takeaway.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have any idea how that is going to serve your listeners? It's so beautiful. Wow. What about you, Gina?
Well, I really think, we go back to your podcast, Waiting for Permission. It is for me, it was permission to move that rest up and really spend time understanding how I am wired and why I don't do it. I am not the best at it. And so it has for me, it was the permission, that it is very important for every single person and to do that. So it was the permission for sure.
I love
Yeah,
that.
it's so good. And it is one of those societal wiring things. And then I feel like, okay, well, if I start to slow down, then everyone around me is impacted. Actually, I don't think they're going to notice, to be quite honest. No. I really don't.
We think they will.
We think they will, right? I think that's a me thing,
that
not a
Gina,
them thing.
She's a slacker. Don't ask her to be on the PTA.
Yeah, she's napping. She's napping on the couch, getting her rest. Exactly. No, nobody cares. Nobody cares about me.
No, I used to say I'm never going to date a napper.
I know you did.
I asked.
You had a lot of judgment around
I
the
did.
napping.
I went on a date and he sat down, and I don't know. I mean, I don't have a lack of words. And I'm like, well, I go, this was the only question I asked. I said, do you nap? And do you golf? Because I thought, you know what? I really don't want a golfer that's always out on the golf course. I'm not interested in that.
Oh my God, I love
it. And so I was like, well, do you golf? And then I go, well, do you nap? Okay. Because I was like, I'm not for a napper.
Listen, Joseph.
He's like, and I'm not for people a judger. Like, are you a judger? I don't want anybody judging what I do on Sundays when I go golfing and then take a nap.
I
know.
Awesome.
I've evolved a little bit since then.
Yes. Well, Joseph, when we worked at the corporate job, I'm in HR, and she was finance. We would work together. We would do interviews, and she would go,
not together.
No, together.
Oh, that poor person.
I know.
Oh my
I know.
God.
I know. We tried to go easy
and I
on
was
them.
the CFO, and so you'd come in and look at me and go, what the hell?
No,
okay,
yeah.
like when I start talking.
Yeah. And the most CFO on the planet.
So tell them what I would do.
So she goes,
this is horrible.
Can I ask what type of dog they are? I go, no. What are you going to do with that? And she goes, well, I think it says something about them, what kind of dog they are. I go, no. And she goes, okay, so that person walked really slow. Can we not hire them because they're a slow walker? I go,
if they walk slow, they don't get anything done.
No, they don't, obviously. And if they have their hands in their pockets, they get even less done.
And if they're
I bet you
sitting
they
on
walk
their
faster
hands.
when they're going to go nap. That's what I think.
No, it's true. I would be like, okay, if I
like,
walk,
oh,
if-
she's the
if they're
worst
not
question
disabled,
asker.
okay, or any of that, because of course I'm not going to discriminate. But if they're an able-bodied person and they walk slow, looking at the clouds, hell no, get the hell out, okay. And so that was. And then
You see my challenge, Joseph.
they're a
You see
I
leopard
see
it.
your
dog,
challenge.
You should have sent this about 10, 12 years ago.
Oh
This
my
would have been
God.
helpful.
20.
So to answer your question,
Yes.
the type of dog that I am a rescue dog. So I am filled with gratitude
Oh,
that
God,
I
love
have
that.
food and a place to sleep and a family that loves me. I'm a rescue
Oh.
dog.
Oh, that's the best. You're hired, Joseph Bennett.
Yeah,
You're
that
hired.
is a
And I
hire
walk fast.
immediately. Yes.
Okay,
Oh my
we're out of
God.
here. I got to go celebrate my birthday. We're going out to the
Absolutely.
country.
So,
Oh, fabulous.
Joseph, thank you for spending your birthday with us. We are enough. We do enough. We have enough.
Have enough.
I love it. We love you, Joseph Bennett.
Mwah.
I love you both.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
It was
Thank
the
you,
best spending it
everyone.
with you.
All right.
All right. Bye, everyone.